Season's greetings. I'm Dr. J. Badenhoop, Professor of Chemistry, and I would like to tell you a story, A Chemistry Christmas Carol. This variation on Charles Dickens' famous work was originally written with my high school chemistry teacher, Gerald Swenson, in 1983. The story contains the names of 86 elements from the periodic table. Can you identify them all? Do you have your periodic table ready? Good. We are not responsible for any nausea induced by the puns. Let's begin. In a back street of London, we find the chemistry professor Ebenezer Scrooginger in a mercurial joy, counting his silver and gold. Praseodymium! Praseodymium! He shouts as he pauses over the fees paid for broken beakers. Ebenezer is so mean that if he ever finds a student overcome by one of his titanium chemistry exams, he never stops to be a good Samaritan. Instead, he calls in a teaching assistant and has him platinum. Are there no chemistry tutors, no iridium, no study sessions? He often asked. Meanwhile, in a stockroom, poor Rubidium Cratchit, the lab technician, was washing dishes in ice-cold water. Ebenezer only allowed him one piece of carbon paper for all the lab reports, and one small candle to aluminum. A graduate of Berkelium College in California, Rub was no Einsteinium, but he wasn't sodium either. He did tend right to bismuth on time. It was 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve, and Rub asked to go homium early. You've got a lot of gallium, replied Ebenezer. I'll be frankium but fermium. Half a day's work, half a day's pay. That's all right, Rub replied. I'm antimony anyway. Late that night, Ebenezer awoke to see the ghostly face of his departed colleague, Laurentium Marley, who ironically looked worse when he was alive. Io died neon to 3 years ago, and since then I've had to go out each night trudging around carrying these arsenine chemistry exams, and they're heavy as lead. Mend your ways. Thus the ghost spoke, then departed. That was euterbium, thought Ebenezer, who had become so yttrium his hands were shaking. Must be a case of dysprosium from a bit of underdone potato. He tried to forget it and listened to a Donny Osmium album until he finally dozed off. At 1 o'clock, Ebenezer awoke to a cold wind. A young girl with golden hair appeared before him. She waved her hand, and the frightened man rose out of bed. The ghost grabbed Ebenezer by the sleeve and rode him off into Christmas past. They first visited the chemistry department of Drogen Fezziwig, Ebenezer's thesis advisor. He was holding a Christmas party, but young Ebenezer was more interested in grading lab reports. Hi, Drogen, laughed Ebenezer, but the spirit told him he couldn't be heard by anyone in the past. The ghost scolded Ebenezer for actinium up. As day turned into night, Drogen and the others said their goodbyes and went home as Ebenezer sat alone. He began to remember a less pleasant time. In graduate school, Ebenezer had spent so much time studying the oxygen spectrum of the planets uranium, neptunium, and plutonium, he didn't notice when his fiancée, selenium, left him.